Quien Es? Douse that lantern there, Pete. Hello, I'm Everyday Graves, author of Sully's American West, and if you've an interest, I'll tell you the greatest stories of America's great old West. And folks, the story I'm about to tell ranks right up there with the very best of them. But as you know, first things first. The two men we're talking about, of course, were Patrick Floyd Jarvis Pat Garrett and Henry McCarty, a.k.a. William H. Bonney, a.k.a. Billy the Kid. Now, history and Pat Garrett's own written words in his book tell us that on the night of July 14, 1881, Pat Garrett surprised Billy and killed him with a single shot in the dark. But me and many others wonder whether this is accurate history or one of the most successful ruses born out of friendship and mutual respect that ever came out of America's Old West. So just out of curiosity, let's go back to that room together and take a look at some of the facts. The forest rather than trees, so to speak.
To begin with, in the years between their respective births, Pat and Billy followed their own adventurous and notorious paths. But those paths were destined to intersect as both men eventually found work at a large ranch in New Mexico owned by Pedro Menard Pete Maxwell. Now, both Pat and Billy were good hands on the ranch, each with a decidedly exciting and dangerous edge to their personalities born from their pasts. And as such, Pete was known to like them both, and more importantly, they liked each other and formed a friendship. In fact, given their respective ages and backgrounds, Pat may well have taken on a father figure view in Billy's own eyes. But they were to part ways once again as Billy found his way into the infamous Lincoln County War, while Pat determined to use his persuasive personality in a more respectable career in politics. But even while following these dramatically different paths, there are multiple uncorroborated reports of them being seen together as friends. Does this newly discovered photo with Billy second from the left and Pat far right confirm this? Next, by 1881, Pat's ambitions had led him to his election as sheriff. As for Billy, the Lincoln County War was over and Billy was reduced to a branded outlaw with a price on his head. He was constantly on the run. But that running came to an end on July 14th when, as history tells us, Pat Garrett successfully tracked him to their old mutual friend, Pete Maxwell's house, and Pat shot Billy for the reward and his own certain future notoriety. Now, that's what history and Pat Garrett's own book tells us, but I ask that we consider some of the other facts that are hidden in plain sight. For example, Pat Garrett had set his professional sights high, but needed something to build his reputation and create cash to sustain his ambitions. There was a government reward of $500, roughly $10,000 today, on Billy's head, but there were plenty of citizens, both friend and foe, who were more than willing to add to that reward or contribution to Billy's escape. Billy, on the other hand, was an outlaw on the run. His regulators had disbanded and he was pretty much on his own, but hunted relentlessly. He needed a completely anonymous escape and the cash to fund it. Also, Pat, Billy, and Pete were friends throughout this period of time, so what better place to create a false event than at Pete's place? Plus, there was a code of fairness in the Old West in which the killing of someone, especially by law enforcement without a call, was considered an assassination, a cowardly act in every regard, and Pat Garrett was no coward. And consider the odd fact that Billy was buried just a few hours after the killing with only 6 all employees of Pete Maxwell, plus Pat, Pete, and a local justice of the peace identifying the body. And finally, and most importantly, no death photograph was ever taken. Outlaws killed by law enforcement were commonly taken after the fact, and this was Billy the Kid, for Christ's sake. The fact that no death picture was taken of the most notorious and wanted man in all of the Old West speaks volumes to me.
So, what do you think? Did Pat Garrett really get an anonymous tip that led him straight to Billy at their mutual friend's home and former stomping ground? Then kill his old friend in cold blood without so much as a call? Have him buried within hours with only the sketchiest of identification, and finally do all of this without a death photograph to confirm the deed? Well, I suppose that's a possibility. But another is that they cooked up a plan together that would guarantee the exact outcomes that they each wanted and needed. Now, of course, I have my own opinion on the matter, but you'll have to watch the closing video for that, and I hope you do. But since I'm not a historian, I'll let you decide for yourself. Well, I hope you enjoyed this amazing story from America's Old West and that you'll watch for more to come. I also hope you'll subscribe to this channel, share, comment, and recommend it. Visit my Facebook page, my website, and most importantly, enjoy my book, Sully's American West, in which all of these stories and more are covered in detail. And just for the record, no alcohol was consumed before or during the live fire scene in this video. Afterwards, well, that's another story. All the best to you and yours. See you next time. Quien Es? Quien Es? Douse that lantern there, Pete. Whoo-wee, Pat, that was close. Some bitch even looks a little bit like me. Where'd you get him? You hush now, Billy, and don't worry about that. He deserved what he got on his own account. You stick to our deal now, you hear? Clear the territory once and for all. I'll get your cut to you when it comes to me. We good on all that? Hell yes, Pat, we're good, and I thank you. You know where to find me. As of tomorrow, I'm a Mexican, and goodbye to New Mexico forever. Adios, Pat. Pete. Con Dios, mi amigo. Come on, Pete. We got work to do.